Okay, let's continue the lecture. So let's see the next topic. What has been learned since 1973? So 1973 is a time point, when the floating exchange rate is conducted. So a floating exchange rate system allows free monetary policy for the domestic economy. However, it affects form and foreign output through changes in real exchange rate. So therefore, economy become too vulnerable to foreign monetary policy. So about symmetry, central banks, each country's central banks are still holding dollars, but because dollar is still a convenient international currency. So therefore, the US have the world monetary supply. So therefore, the international monetary system is not symmetrical, even if the floating exchange rate world. So about the exchange rate as an automatic stabilizer, overall output and prices were generally protected due to the automatic stabilizer of exchange rate. However, some economic sectors could be hurt. Overall economy is pretty good, but some sectors could be hurt. Dollar appreciation in the 1980s. So it causes export difficulties for US agriculture sector. So about external balance, its failure to prevent significant and sustained deviations from the external equilibrium. So this graph shows the evolution of current account balances. So blue one is the current account surplus, the country with current account surpluses. And the orange. So it's orange. So orange lines are countries with current account deficit. So you can see that despite of floating exchange rate system, the current account, the countries with current account surpluses accumulate its surpluses. And also, countries with current account deficit have large deficit. So you can see that, for example, United States is here. So United States have large current account deficit. And in Japan here, Japan also have large current account surpluses. So therefore, each country does not achieve the external equilibrium. So there is imbalances in the current account, even in the floating exchange rate system. In the floating exchange rate system, there is also the problem of policy coordination. For example, discrepancy between countries with balance of payments deficit and those with surpluses. So like US and Japan. So US has balance of payment deficit and Japan faces the balance of payment surpluses. So these countries can be conflict. And another example another example is a bigger day neighbor policy. So such policy can be protectionist trade policy. Such trade policy can be stop the policy coordination. So then a question is, are fixed exchange rates even an option for most countries? So lessons from the Bretton Woods systems are that a sustainable fixed exchange rate system is not possible. So because of the monetary trilemma. So a willingness to maintain capital movement restrictions or use a single common currency will make it easier to maintain fixed exchange rate. So this is the lessons from trilemma of international finance, or monetary trilemma. So to fix the exchange rate, country restrict the free capital movement, or use a single common currency like EU, European Union. Okay, so therefore, lessons from according to the Bretton Woods system, a sustainable fixed exchange rate system is not possible. So this is a short answer. Okay. So for this is the end of the lecture. Sorry about I forget to make the summary slide. But okay, so let's check the contents we covered. We covered the clashes, the history of clashes, especially in Europe and Asia. So there is several massive attacks in Europe after the fall of the Berlin Wall. And also Japan faces several crises due to the restrictive monetary policy to avoid yen appreciation. Japan faces inflation laws as a result of loose monetary policy to avoid yen appreciation. And then BOJ conduct restrictive monetary policy and it causes recession. So such Japanese slowdown weakened the East Asian economies, and East Asian countries faces global recession like Asian currency recession. And Russia defaulted and it causes worldwide depression. There is also dot-com crash in the US, and such low interest rate environment grows the imbalances of current account, and then global imbalances. We covered global imbalances, and also we covered what has been learned since 1973 as a benefit and cost of floating exchange rate system. Monetary policy also be symmetry and exchange rate as automatic stabilizer and external balance. So so each country cannot achieve external equilibrium. And also, so the lessons from the Bretton Woods system, a sustainable fixed exchange rate system is not possible. So this is what we covered. Okay, so thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this class again. So this is the 7th. So I hope you enjoyed the last remaining lectures. Okay. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye.